Yo, what's going on, y'all? It's Conan. Today, we're breaking down Thunder versus Nuggets. We finally have a second round series set in stone out west, and it's going to be a pretty fun one. Shai versus Jokic, the top two MVP vote getters, and it's the first time that the top two MVP contenders have played against each other in a playoff series that same season since Russ and Harden back in 2017, which, speaking of Russ, we're going to go ahead and get to see Russ play a road playoff series in Oklahoma City for the first time in his entire career, because obviously he played against them in the bubble, but that's in Disney. That's not in Oklahoma City. You've got one of the best defenses we've seen in a while with the Thunder, multiple all-defensive candidates, this high-octane Nuggets offense that can just blitz you at times with Jokic and Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr. It's going to be really entertaining. I am super excited for this one. I am a Thunder fan, going to go ahead and say that now, but this is a matchup that I think, just from a basketball fan perspective, is going to be super, super exciting, and I want to go ahead and break it all down, but first, let's talk about how we got here. The Thunder have been waiting for this matchup for a while. It's, I think, going to be 9 total days of rest going into Monday when game 1 is, and that's because the Thunder swept the Memphis Grizzlies, headlined by a 51-point win in game 1, huge comeback in game 3, one of the biggest playoff comebacks ever. Of course, Jamal Murray does get hurt in game 3 and misses game 4 following that, and some people think it would have made a difference, but I personally don't think it was going to change that much. The Thunder were pretty clearly the better team, and it felt like they even played a bit below their usual standard in that matchup and managed to get out of there without a single L. Meanwhile, for the Nuggets, they played a really good Clippers team. It was an extremely hard-fought series. They were picked against by most people. I included picked the Clippers to win in 7. It goes to 7, but Denver annihilates the Clippers in that final game in Denver. Jokic has had some monster outings so far in the playoffs. Jamal Murray had some of those big Jamal Murray games. Aaron Gordon was great. Russell Westbrook was electric in that revenge series, shot insanely well from 3, making so many winning plays. The squad as a whole showcased some of that energy, that juice that you saw back in 2023 when they went on the title run. In terms of the season series, it was split 2-2 down the middle. Thunder won the first game of the season pretty convincingly in Denver against the Nuggets. Then the Nuggets won a close one to give the Thunder their first L of the season. Then the Thunder won in blowout fashion. Then the Nuggets won in blowout fashion. Both those games on back-to-back nights, which was just really weird schedule making. A very weird back and forth season series between these two teams, and a lot of injuries on both sides, with the Thunder not having Hartenstein to open the season, and then the Nuggets not having Jamal Murray at certain points. A lot of weirdness between these two teams, these interdivision rivals, but in the end, the Thunder do come into this series as a pretty heavy favorite according to Vegas. Which brings us to the keys to the matchup, and the big thing I think everybody's going to think about is this Thunder defense versus this Nuggets offense. The Thunder, like I said earlier, were one of the better defenses we've seen in a long time. There are so many all-defensive caliber players on this team. Ludor and Jalen Williams are likely to both make all-defense. Chet Holmgren probably would have been on there if he played enough games. Isaiah Hartenstein had a chance to make it on there if he played enough games, and that is an elite double big duo. We're really seeing the double big lineup come into style here in this regular season, in these playoffs. Casey Wallace is elite. Alex Caruso probably would have been an all-defensive lock if you played enough games. Then you've got Shai. Like, the weak links on this team defensively are Isaiah Joe and Aaron Wiggins, and both of them are not really bad defenders. They're just not as good as the stacked defensive guys ahead of them on the depth chart. It's a very difficult unit to score on, but the Nuggets are a very high-powered offense and did find some success in the regular season against the Thunder. In their 4 matchups, they scored 102, 124, 103, and 140. Clearly, the 2 games that they won, they really went ahead and turned up the Jets. They're going to have to do that. They're going to have big offensive explosions against this defense to go ahead and pull out wins. And specifically, they shot really well from 3 in both those games. 42.1% on 38 attempts in game 1, and they were 18 of 32 from 3 for 56.3% in the second one they had over OKC this season. With OKC having Chet and Ihart, who are both amazing defensive bigs and so many guys who can poke the ball away from you on drives, getting those 3-point looks and knocking them down is extremely critical. And they did hit 3s against the Clippers in their series. They shot 38.9%, which is the 3rd best mark out of any team in the first round. The only thing that's worrying on that front is they shot just 29 3-point attempts per game, which was the fewest out of anybody to open up the playoffs. That number is going to have to come up, and OKC is going to give some guys chances. The Thunder, as a Thunder fan, I'll tell you this, are willing to concede 3s to guys that they're not super worried about. That is a concession they're more than willing to make. And Jokic shot 45.2% from 3, MPJ shot 44.1%, Jamal Murray shot 40.4%. Those are great shooters. If you give them those looks, they're going to knock them down. The Thunder are going to key in on those guys. The key for the Nuggets is the other guys. Russell Westbrook, Peyton Watson, Christian Brown, Aaron Gordon, those guys are going to have to hit shots when they get them. And in the first round, Russ specifically hit them. 41.9% from deep, which I believe I saw a stat is the best three-point percentage Russell Westbrook has ever had in a playoff series. He's not going to have to shoot that well probably, but he's going to have to shoot something close. Christian Brown shot just 32%. That number has to come up. Aaron Gordon, 29.2%, also needs to come up. Peyton Watson shot 50%, but on 4 total three-point attempts across the 7 games. That's not something he's looking to do, and if he's out there, the Thunder are going to basically just give him the Ben Simmons treatment and let him take those shots. Those Nuggets role players are going to have to hit their outside shots if they want any chance of competing with the Thunder in this series. Jokic is going to get some pressure. He's going to kick the ball to Russell Westbrook, Christian Brown, Aaron Gordon, Peyton Watson, whoever. Can they make the Thunder pay? That's a big reason why the Mavericks won last year against OKC, is because the Thunder shooters weren't hitting that much, but more specifically, like PJ Washington. I still have nightmares about the way that he shot the basketball in that series. We left him open a lot of times because we sent a lot of help, and he made the Thunder pay pretty much every single time. The Nuggets don't need someone to have like a PJ Washington series, or maybe they do, but at the very minimum, they've got to have guys hit those outside shots. If they don't, there's no way they keep up with the Thunder whatsoever. On the Jokic front, the Thunder did a pretty good job limiting him as a scorer in the regular season, just 24.5 points per game on 52.6% shooting, 27.8% from 3. Still not bad, and he put up almost 16 boards a game, 11.5 assists. Like, it's the Joker. He's always going to put up absurd numbers. He's going to be incredibly impactful, but scoring-wise, the Thunder limited him pretty well, and that's why the other guys are so important, because OKC's shown ability to make him a little bit uncomfortable, or at least get the ball out of his hands. Again, it's Jokic. You're never going to fully stop him. I'm sure he's going to have a few monster games in this series, but if you're able to at least get him away from being like this dominant 30-point per game hyper-efficient scorer and force the ball into the other guy's hands, I think that's a win for the Thunder. Another big thing is Jamal Murray. He's got to keep up this pace. He was so good in round 1 against great defenders with Los Angeles, but this is now another step up defensively. It's Lou Dort, it's Kaysen Wallace, it's Alex Caruso, Shai at times, Jalen Williams. Again, so many unbelievable defenders, specifically for a scoring guard like him on this Thunder roster. They need Jamal Murray to be good. They need him to be great to go ahead and match up with this Thunder team, and he's gonna have his hands full against those guys. It's gonna be up to David Adelman to try and scheme him some easier looks, maybe get some of those switches, although against this Thunder defense, not really anybody you can consistently target. Another big thing, the Nuggets are gonna have to take care of the ball. They had 13.9 turnovers per game against the Clippers in the first round, which was the 6th highest mark in the playoff field, which isn't a great stat to have when you're going up against this Thunder defense, which forces turnovers at a historic rate. They're one of the greatest turnover forcing teams in the history of the sport, and that's not hyperbole. That is a fact. You saw it in the first round series against the Grizzlies, who averaged 19.3 turnovers per night. That's an absurd number. Meanwhile, the Thunder turned the ball over just 10.5 times. That's a big reason why the Thunder are so hard to beat. They control the possession game at an elite level. They force you into a million turnovers. They don't give you the ball back. They're better now as an offensive rebounding team, so they don't give you that many opportunities on that end. Fast break points are so easy to come by with all the weapons the Thunder have. They get easy buckets. It is an incredible attack. You cannot give them more opportunities with those turnovers. The Nuggets have to take care of the ball. They've got to have their role players knock down those outside shots. Those in and of themselves are maybe the 2 biggest things that the Nuggets have to go ahead and manage if they want to go ahead and compete with the Thunder in this matchup. Meanwhile, on the other end, you've got the question of if the Nuggets defense can keep up with this Thunder offense, because the Nuggets were not a good defensive team this season. That was the big concern for me, and part of the reason why I picked the Clippers in that series was because the Clippers looked amazing at the end of the season offensively, and Denver has just not been good this season on the defensive end of the ball. But they had some solid outings against the Clippers, specifically Game 7. They held the Clippers to 29.6% shooting from deep, forced 14 turnovers, and held them to just 101 points. They still have the ability to turn up the notch at times. Now, the issue is they're going to have to do that for 48 minutes a game against this Thunder team. They have to be playing incredible defense like they played in that Game 7 consistently, because while the Thunder's defense was the big talking point throughout the season, they were also one of the 3 best offenses in the entire sport too. Through the first round, the Thunder put up an offensive rating of 117.4, which is tied with Boston for the 3rd best in the field. And that's despite Shai not having a good series and the team shooting just 31.3% from the outside. Now, if both those trends continue, then things can definitely get scary for Oklahoma City. But Shai has been one of the most consistent scorers in the entire world for 3 straight seasons now, and he was really good in the playoffs last year. And this team was 6th best in 3-point percentage in the regular season on the 10th most attempts. That indicates they're a really good volume shooting team. I don't think Shai is going to struggle the way that he did that first round series. I don't think the Thunder are going to shoot as poorly as they did against Memphis. I think both those things are going to bounce back in a big way, and that is a little bit scary for Denver. They're going to have to try and make those trends more so continue than be completely erased in this matchup. And one thing that also plays a big factor in this is the Thunder have now gotten 9 days of rest. We talked about that in the intro. That's a really long time. Meanwhile, the Nuggets are going to have a 48-hour turnaround going from playing in Denver against the Clippers in a Game 7 to now playing the Oklahoma City Thunder in Oklahoma City. That is really fast to go ahead and switch those gears. And it leads to a little bit of a rust versus rest debate. Maybe the Thunder are rusty and the Nuggets can take Game 1 or Game 2 in OKC, and that would be huge. I think the Nuggets literally have to do that. If they don't, I think the series is pretty much dead in the water. They've got to catch the Thunder sleeping a little bit, but also the Thunder showed what they could do off rest. They had way more rest than the Grizzlies going into Game 1 of that series, and the Thunder won by 51 points. Meanwhile, also for the Nuggets defensively, they're going to need Christian Brown to be really good in the point of attack. AG is going to have to step up. Russ is going to have to be great on that end. Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic have to hold up, specifically Jokic as the last line of defense against Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who is one of the best rim attacking guards the position has ever seen. Jada loves to get downhill. They love getting it to guys in the dunker spot. Chet is going to attack Jokic off the dribble. Hartenstein is going to go ahead and try and back him down, shoot that floater. Jokic is going to be put in a lot of actions. The Thunder are going to go at him, and he had a pretty good defensive series. He deserves a lot of credit for the way he played on that end at times against Los Angeles, but now he's been through that series. He's not going to get any time to rest, and the Thunder are very dynamic. Specifically, J-Dub and Chet are big X factors to the series. They're both exceptional against the Grizzlies. Chet had a number of monstrous quarters, was shooting really well from the outside. Dub was so good in transition. He was probably the Thunder's best overall player in that first round matchup against Memphis. And I said it before, I'm a believer that Dub is in for a massive playoff run, and he showcased what he could do in that first series against Memphis. The Nuggets have to find a way to slow both those guys down, in addition to Shai, because it's reached a point where last year, the team really didn't have the juice to step up alongside Shai if he was struggling. Now, if he's struggling, the team can do enough to elevate until he's ready to take over in moments, and the Thunder can shut the door. Now, all that being said, I think Shai is probably in for a big series here. I just don't think the defenders on the Nuggets have what it takes to slow him down consistently. Maybe then that just means, okay, well, if Shai's going to beat us, let's just try and shut everybody else off. It's going to be a little bit of a trial and error type game against this Thunder offense to figure out what works for Denver. And the question is, can you find a solution quick enough before it just becomes too late? Part of that is also, you've got to try and slow down the transition attack. The Thunder led the first round with points in transition. If you can't stop them there, there's just really no hope, and that comes off the million turnovers they force. On the other side, the Nuggets also love to score in transition too. They were top 5 in transition points per game in the regular season, and they were tied for second in points per possession on transition opportunities. Meanwhile, the Thunder were the best at stopping opponents from scoring in the fast break. That in and of itself, that transition battle on both ends, is going to be a major turning point for this series. The Nuggets are really going to need all hands on deck defensively to slow this unit down. And a lot of that is going to come down to the depth, guys. For the Nuggets, can Russell Westbrook give you the type of production he gave you against the Clippers? Christian Brown, can he be a bit better from 3? And can he be a really good POA guy? If he's guarding Shai, can he slow him down at all? He had some great defense on James Harden. This is a whole new challenge. Aaron Gordon, whether he's guarding Jada, if he has possessions on Shai, whoever he's out there going up against, if it's Chet Holmgren because it's the double big, how can he hold up in all those versatile situations? Michael Porter Jr. had some big ups and downs. They need him to be a lot more consistent. Peyton Watson, what's he going to do out there? Is he just unplayable because of the offense? DeAndre Jordan, can they hold up in the non-Jokic minutes? Because that continues to be a massive concern. And against a team this good with Oklahoma City, you cannot afford to just suddenly give up like a 10-0 run, which the Thunder led the league in this season, when Nikola Jokic leaves the court and he's forced to play like 43, 44 minutes a night. That's just not sustainable. And then for the Thunder, Casey Wallace, can he knock down shots? Can he be the high-level defender that we've seen him be for a while now? Alex Caruso, is that three-point shot going to be hitting? And can he make a similar, just completely destructive impact like he did against the Grizzlies, specifically in that Game 3 comeback? Aaron Wiggins, Isaiah Joe, can they give a shot-creating punch like we've seen all throughout the year? And can that three-point shot be up to the level that we saw it at in the regular season from both those guys? Can they hold up defensively? Because again, those are two of the weaker defensive links. And even when it comes to Jalen Williams and Chet Holmgren, I know everybody came into the playoffs and the question mark was, Shai is the guy, but who is going to step up as the number 2? Likely Jada, but he did great round round one. Can he carry that over? Are there going to be some residual struggles like we saw in round two last year from him? And Chet, can he carry over the high-level defense going up now against Nikola Jokic, one of the toughest guards possible? And with all that in mind, it's time to go ahead and make a prediction. Again, I think this is going to be a really fun battle between two of the best players in the sport. It's cool to see Russ back in Oklahoma City in the playoffs for the first time. As a Thunder fan, I'm really excited to see what the reception looks like and how he performs in that environment. And Denver is not a pushover. I know the Thunder are heavily favored, but when you have a player as good as Nikola Jokic, you have the pedigree that they have. You've got Jamal Murray, who's capable of those pop-offs. It's not a team that you can take lightly. The Thunder need to lock in from the get-go. They cannot have any rust. They've got to be ready and on their A game from the beginning. They need to play better than they played against the Grizzlies in round one to make this even a semi-comfortable series. But in the end, I'm going with the Oklahoma City Thunder to win this series. They've just been the better team on both ends throughout this season. They've got great personnel to throw at anybody that the Nuggets are trying to have score the basketball. It is an unbelievable defense that is very now well rested. It's a Thunder team that thrives on flying around, creating chaos. 9 days of rest, I think, is a massive luxury for them. Well, meanwhile, again, the Nuggets are coming off a hard-fought 7-game series, immediately turning around to play Oklahoma City, and I think that, in addition to the overall just bad defensive structure of this team, could lead to some massive scoring outings for the Thunder. Shai's really going to get going, in my opinion, in this series, and the Thunder are just deeper. They're very well coached. I just feel a lot more comfortable with the Thunder slowing down Denver's offense and ripping apart that Denver defense than vice versa for the Nuggets. I do think the Nuggets could take one of like the first 3 games and maybe catch the Thunder out sleeping, but overall, I think the Thunder do get it done. I'll go Thunder in 6. I've been between 5 and 6, but out of respect for what Nikola Jokic is capable of, and of course the explosions that Jamal Murray is very capable of, I'll go ahead and give the Nuggets 2 games to the Thunder's 4, but the Thunder do go ahead and win this series to move on to their first Western Conference Finals in around a decade. But for the moment, those are my thoughts on this series. I appreciate you all watching. Leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on future videos. Let me know down below in the comments who you have winning this series, how many games, what are your biggest X factors, keys to the matchup, things that I didn't mention that you think could be really important. I appreciate y'all. I'll see y'all later. Rewind, say it back.